Hi everyone, this is Patricia and I am sharing this video for the Stretch Your Stamp Scrapbooking series by Shu-Wen. I like to definitely stretch my stamps and am inspired by the design of them. In this case, I'm inspired by these circle stamps from Heidi's Swapp. I printed circle photos so that I could stamp the image over them. So adhere the photos and then stamp over them. I ended up going in a totally different direction. I really liked the stamped image on this pattern paper. It's a very, very neutral pattern paper. And I took that stamped image and I stamped it in red and then off-centered it a bit in yellow. This stamp set has coordinating sentiments to go perfectly with the circle image of the stamps. So I'm picking one of them to stamp here. And this is where I end up really getting a little bit off how I envisioned this whole project to come out, which is fine. I love that about stamping and as with creating in general. So what I decided is to cut within that pattern paper. I just used a punch just so I could get something in the center to get my scissors in there. And then I just trimmed around it, and I'm going to put the photo behind it instead because I really like the sentiment being over the photo rather than my photo covering up any of that sentiment. I like the look of stamping onto pattern paper. You can really stretch those stamps and get a totally different look. I stamped that red ink on that pink pattern paper twice because I actually like that white center line or that white line in the pattern paper. So as you're stamping, you can do that. Just pick the areas of the pattern paper that you like if there's different variations of that pattern paper. In this case, this floral pattern paper, I wanted a little bit more yellow right there. So I stamped right there instead. Now I trim my stamped images out. I make sure that I see some of that inked circle line. I don't want to cut on the line. I added a little bit of sanding on the edges. It's something that Heidi Swapp has done for years, and she's inspired me once again to do that. It really does give it such a unique look. Now I'm struggling here with my cat in the way, but that's typical with creating on my desk. They like to be around me. And so I'm stamping, and this will happen a lot. And I kept this in the video so that you could see. I went ahead and tried the yellow ink on that pink pattern paper, and I should have known better that the ink was not going to be enough to stand out. So I did another little off center. I wanted to show you in that picture of it in red so that it looks like it's intentional. To keep with that same intentional look, I stamped it in yellow with that circle image on the outside. Now I'm going to stamp some more of the sentiments that come with this stamp set. I'm going to stamp them on the circles. And my idea, as you can see, I've put the circles over the photos. And I've decided to create like a little peekaboo effect here. So I'm using my scoreboard to score along the edge of the circle where I want it to bend. There's certain areas I want some of them to go up. I want some of them to go to the side. So as I score them, I decide how I want them to open up. I base that also on the photo itself so that you can make sure that when you fold it open, you can see that photo. And then once I have that done and I adhere those to the photo, now it's time to really decide how I want to place these in my memory planner spread for this week. I decided to take that piece of paper and trim it down. And then I realized I forgot a photo. I had it in my queue to print and I just missed it. So I'm going to do the same thing on this other side for that photo that I missed. Kind of balances that spread, and I also printed it in black and white because it's a very distracting photo, but it's a very special photo of picking up my daughter from school. So I wanted to keep it in there. So I'm mimicking the exact same thing that I did with that other piece of paper. To add a little bit more interest to those little pieces, I corner rounded just one corner on both of those. Now I want to add the numbers here for the days of the week. So I'm using, again, the circle image from the stamp set, and then I've pulled out a number stamp set. Now I re-inked that 7. If you ever see an image, you stamp it and it just kind of puddles. I just wiped it off and I used an eraser. I find that using a white eraser kind of helps the ink to adhere a little bit better to the image so that you get a nice crisp stamped image. I am adhering everything down because I know this is how I want the design to be. So far, I have stamped off of my actual planner project here, and I've detail cut those and adhering those to it. In a little bit, I will start adding stamping directly to it. But stamping off of a project like this is really a great way to not commit right away. You can then place how you want things, just like if it was a die cut that you purchased. I'm going to create some more off the page stamping here with these flags. I like this pattern paper and the yellow ink. It just kind of gives it a little bit of a transparency so I can still see the pattern paper under it. And I stamped it in the same exact colors that I've been stamping with. I want to keep with that same look. I added a little bit more stamping to it and then detail cut that out. Everything here, again, I'm detail cutting it out and then committing to where I want it placed on my project. I'm going to create one more here, and then I'll add that one to the right side. I do love stamping directly onto projects, but sometimes, like I said, stamping off the project, cutting it out, using it just like it was a die cut piece really gives you the flexibility. And now I'm able to just go through and add stamping directly to my project here and there. I also have enough color with the pattern paper and the inks that I've used. So now all the stamping I'm doing is going to be in black ink. I need to start adding some journaling, and I want to create a little bit more of a layering effect. So I use this die cut piece, hand wrote my journaling. I'm going to add some more stamping to that, same ink colors that I've been using so that it all goes together. To change up the stamping and pattern paper, I'm adding a little bit of washi tape to the left side and to the right side. Now I'm adding some stickers with some more journaling. I'm using the red ink pen because of the ink colors that I've used. I feel like it goes really well and balances the spread. I add a circle die cut there at the top corner with some journaling, and that finished this up. Thank you so much, Shu-Wen, for having me. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video.